So I got the COVID vaccine. Yes, the COVID vaccine, and that will lead to a lot of questions. Some people might be like, how do you get the COVID vaccine? Why do you get the COVID vaccine? Should I get the COVID vaccine? Do you get any side effects? Blah, 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 blah. And what vaccine do you take? And we'll go through all of that in this video, so just stick around. Also, sorry for not uploading on this channel for a while now, because this channel is just kind of a chill channel. My main channel is my main focus right now, which is youtube.com/ZXTech, linked in the description, to the 10 people who are subscribed here but not subscribed there. Okay, let's talk about the COVID vaccine. Number one is, which vaccine did I take? Well, I took the Pfizer vaccine, which seems to be the statistically, at least from research, best one so far. Not so sure about how true that is, because all these are statistics and stuff, and you have to dive deep into the numbers to really understand it. But it seems like Pfizer and Moderna are like the best vaccines available on the market right now. So that's the vaccine I got. I just got my first dose, I think 4 days ago or 5 days ago, which, yeah, there's that. And I'll be getting my second dose 2 to 3 weeks from now. So in terms of side effects, here are the side effects that I have noticed in my peers and as myself from this vaccination this whole vaccination process. So in Singapore, the only vaccines that have been dished out so far are Pfizer and Moderna, and most of the people I know have gotten the Pfizer vaccine. And these are the side effects. So the first dose, generally, there would just be arm soreness, just like a flu jab. I've noted that my friend has gotten a cough from it. My friend has gotten some headaches from it, but he did have some underlying, I think, blood pressure issues. But apart from that, I haven't had any, and most people get fatigued after getting it, but usually one night of rest is enough to really fix everything. So that's what I've noticed so far with this vaccine from the first dose. Really not that much happens. And then when you get the second dose, that's where you're more likely to get side effects with the Pfizer vaccine, at least from what I've seen. Like if you want some, it's already reported by these research studies, but if you want some, I guess, anecdotal evidence or anecdotal notice, like things that I've seen. Well, I've seen some people get caught. I've seen a higher number of people get side effects from the second dose that are more severe than just arm pain. Things like maybe slightly feverish, headaches, coughs, a sore throat. Very flu-like symptoms actually. Nothing in particular, like nothing really too bad. Really, pretty much nothing serious. No one's been hospitalized yet. But then again, most of my friends are young, and that's that. But my grandmother has gotten both doses, and my dad has gotten both doses. A lot of people I've known around me who are elder also have gotten doses. So they've pretty much been near zero any kind of like really severe reactions to the Pfizer vaccine, which is a good thing, because we don't want reactions, we want protection and nothing else, which makes sense. So the second question is, how did I get a vaccine? Because it's pretty early in the whole vaccination process of the entire planet. How did I get a vaccine so early? Well, number one, that's because I'm in Singapore. So I'm in this very well-developed country, pretty well run, honestly, frankly. Not going to kiss ass to the government or the ruling party. That might offend some people, but I think Singapore's a pretty well-run country, and we're pretty rich, so we're in this fortunate position where we can afford all these things. And Singapore pretty much had pre-orders, like a hypebeast shopping for a Jordan 1 signed by Michael Jordan himself and Kanye West. They pretty much had pre-orders for everything. Pfizer, Moderna, as well as Sinovac and stuff. Sinovac is the Chinese vaccine, and that is under testing. And we didn't order AstraZeneca, which is a good thing, I guess, because AstraZeneca started causing crazy blood clots in everyone, which has caused it to be, I think, pulled off the shelves. But Pfizer and Moderna are doing just fine with the huge millions of people being vaccinated by it, which is a good thing. Anyway, Singapore basically got pre-orders, so we're pretty much one of the first countries to receive the vaccines and also receive a huge amount of the vaccine. I think we ordered without a doubt, I think Singapore government ordered enough to vaccinate the country very quickly. And the vaccination program is picking up. There is very little anti-vax movement here, which is a good thing, and we should keep it that way, because unlike some countries, we have a very well-educated population. We're not anti-vax. A lot of people are getting the vaccinations, and everyone gets it for free. So we're lucky because we're in Singapore. If you're watching this, you're not from Singapore, right? And also so that's the first point. The second point is that I'm in the military, so I'm considered, I'm pretty high up in the priority. Not the highest, because the highest in terms of priority for vaccinations was frontline workers, people who will be interacting with sick, ill people who might be immunocompromised literally every day. So the risk of COVID is higher, and the risk of them spreading COVID is also much, much higher than someone who just stays at home all day. So the first priority is frontline workers and elderly people, as well as the immunocompromised. So the people who have the biggest problems, if they did catch COVID, need the most protection, which I think is pretty obvious, right? So that's the first priority. And then the second priority is your essential services, things that, like, you know, people, things that have people interacting a lot. So like your bus drivers, taxi drivers, they'll be interacting with a lot of people. They could be super spreaders. If any one of them got COVID, they could spread it to 20, 30, 40, 50 people, which will restart the whole snowballing cycle, which will be a nightmare. So that's the second priority. And also in the second priority is your essential services, like the military, like the Air Force, you know, basically the military, right? It's essential to the Singapore being safe and sound, especially in this kind of time of trouble. So the military gets vaccinated next as part of the protection. So I am not in the most essential unit, but I do work for a unit that is reasonably important to the defense of the nation. So I guess we're pretty high up in the priority in the military itself. So I got the vaccine this week. I got it on Wednesday, and it was the Pfizer vaccine, as I've just said. And yeah, there's that. So that's how I got the vaccine, A, being in a lucky country, and B, being in the military for my conscription, my national service, the 2 years of my life that I have to burn to serve the nation in the army and stuff. That's how I got the vaccine. So I was prioritized over like the average citizen, but it's free for everyone in Singapore, so that's awesome, I guess. So that's how I got the vaccine. And the next thing is you want to know is, are there any side effects? Well, here are the things that I've noted. It's all anecdotal, it's not statistically, but everything that was observed in terms of side effects so far that I've seen and I've read about in the news and stuff, they're all the same things that were reported in the studies and the warnings and the labels and stuff from Pfizer themselves. So your first dose, so what I find is that most of the more, not to say severe, but most of the more obvious and annoying side effects happen with the second dose on average. Like the first dose tends to have very little side effects. Most people just get, you know, a sore shoulder, a sore arm, and not much else. I did have a friend who got a little bit of a cough, a little bit of a nagging cough, but most people just get tired of the vaccine and have some muscle soreness, which isn't too much of an issue. I had a friend who had like sore ankles and joints after it, but a day later he was perfectly fine, so there's that. But most of the people I've seen don't really have much issues from the first dose, which is good to know. You know, you just have a painful arm, so just do it on your non-dominant arm. Word of advice, I guess. My grandma has gotten the vaccine, my dad has gotten the vaccine, and they've got kind of similar things. The second dose is where you tend to see more side effects, but even then the side effects are not what is out of the blue or unreported, like in terms of anecdotal evidence. The most severe thing is really just feverish, a fever, which honestly isn't that bad. I mean, it is a flu, but it's better than getting actual COVID, so there's that. And also there's other side effects like feverish, cough, sore throat, cold, you know, just cold-like side effects, headaches, maybe even more soreness and stuff like that. The Pfizer vaccine, and since Singapore only really has the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine right now, no Sinovac, I can't tell you about that. But it seems like most people who got vaccinated at this point in time in Singapore have used the Pfizer vaccine because that was the first vaccine to get approved. There's that, you know. Those are the side effects I've noticed. Completely anecdotal evidence, but I just want to reassure you that it's really not that severe, it's really not that serious, and it's also not that common. You're just really just going to get an arm pain, you're just going to get some sore arms, which I think it's a small price to pay for protection, which I would totally take. And the first vaccine, you know, the first jab apparently of the Pfizer vaccine can give like up to 80% efficacy now, which is super cool. I'm not sure that it's 100% accurate, but who knows? Seems like the Pfizer vaccine is really good. Okay, so that's the side effects out of the way. Finally, the last question is, should you get the vaccine? Should you have the option to? I would absolutely say that yes, you should take the COVID vaccine if you have the chance to, because the protection is great. The side effects, especially with the Pfizer ones and the Moderna ones, looking at the statistics, looking at the research papers, looking at the actual numbers, the reported cases of any severe reactions, allergic reactions, any sort of shock, any sort of problems, For the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, I don't know about Sinovac, I don't know about the Russian one, I do not know about, but ignoring AstraZeneca, it seems like the numbers, it seems like the main two forerunners for vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, are pretty safe. I haven't really read much about the Sinovacs or the Russian vaccines or the other types of vaccines. It seems like Moderna and Pfizer are perfectly fine. AstraZeneca seems a bit dodged, seems to have some blood clotting issues, but I think it has been like pulled off the shelves at this point in time, and the chances are the vaccine you get is an AstraZeneca. So if you get the option of Pfizer Moderna vaccine, I'd say just go get it. You know, you protect yourself, you protect the people around you, you protect the elderly. And if you're an anti-vax person, then you're stupid. That's all I have to say. There's no debate. You're just stupid. You're believing the wrong things. You're being misled by fake news. You're being misled by things that aren't based on statistics and research. There are millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars behind this vaccine research. There are billions of lives at stake at vaccine research. The researchers, you know, they have family that they want to protect with the vaccine. The people who are the CEOs of of the big pharma companies and the government officials who funded this vaccine research for this particular vaccine especially, they're probably elderly people as well who are at high risk of COVID-19. So if they decided to, you know, spend that money developing microchips to inject into people instead of actual vaccines that will defend people, they will basically be shooting themselves in the foot, because that funding that they used to create this vaccine would have gone to something that wouldn't protect them from COVID. Because the people who, you see, that's the funny thing about conspiracy theorists. You know, they're always saying government officials and evil CEOs of big pharmas and stuff. Think about it. Their CEOs, the super loaded, the government officials, the super loaded, they've been in the game for years and years and years at this point, which means they're really old. And if they're really old, they're the most likely to fall ill, the most likely to fall prey to COVID's worst effects, they're most likely to fall prey to diseases' worst effects. So if you're going to go like, oh, you know, this 75-year-old CEO wants to plant microchips in me for money, it makes literally no sense. Because let's be honest, I think to invent a microchip that you can inject and stuff, it's A, really hard, and B, if you did invent that, all the funding that were meant for COVID will be transferred to the microchip, which means there won't actually be an actual COVID vaccine developed, which means that, you know, these CEOs might catch COVID and actually die, which is not a good thing. So either way, if you're a conspiracy theorist, screw off, or, you know, maybe get educated a little bit, read up a little bit, try to look for data instead of rumors, and actually factual data. For me, my experience with the Pfizer vaccine has been perfectly fine. Only just got a little bit of soreness in my left arm, which is where I got injected so far. Second dose comes in 2 weeks. I'm actually pretty excited, because once you get your vaccine, you just feel a bit safer, you know, you just feel a bit better. And on top of that, if, you know, planes do open, travel bubbles do open, there will be probably a requirement for vaccination. So being vaccinated just puts me in a good position to go overseas, assuming I can get my hands on some leave and off days, which would be quite appreciated. If you're watching this, Captain, please give me some leaves, give me some offs. I really want to go to like Thailand or Taiwan or New Zealand. New Zealand's opened up and I don't have to wear a mask there, which is lit. Okay, I'm gonna end this video off here. Hope you guys found this video informative. Please don't fall prey to fake news. Do your own research, obviously, on these COVID-19 vaccines, but my strong belief is that if you can get your hands on the COVID-19 vaccine that isn't AstraZeneca, because that seems to be the most problematic one, just get it. It's protection for you, your family members, people around you, the elderly. It's protection for society. Yeah. Okay, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, which I don't know, maybe this weekend, next weekend, I don't know. Bye.